come to the microphone, provide their name and address, present their request or concerns, and express to the group and express the group's concern. Because each side will be allowed 10 minutes to speak. Please, if you've got a group, please have someone that would be a spokesman for that group if at all possible. Plats, rezoning, revised master plans, and street renaming require a public hearing, after which the Planning Commission will deliberate and render a decision. Planning Commission members with a personal or financial interest in any petitioner's request are required to recuse themselves. If a motion to deny is requested, a reason must be given by the commission. Have we got any changes, Tommy, that you know of? Tanya, anything? Okay, all right. You've had an opportunity to read the minutes. Are there any corrections, additions, deletions, etc.? If not, a motion's in order.
Move to approve.
Second.
That was Ann, the second. You got the first, the motion, Tanya. You got who did the motion? Okay. All right. All those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. All right, Tommy.
You have to excuse me, buddy. I didn't get a paper copy with you.
You want me to read them?
Go ahead, please.
Okay.
Yeah, read them, Tanya, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Item number 1 by Pilgreen Engineering representing Darshit Patel, requesting final approval of TBG Virginia Loop Road, Plat number 1 on the northwest corner of Virginia Loop Road and Woodley Road.
We got anyone to do the presentation? Oh, yes, ma'am. Come on, give your name and address and tell us about your
Good
plat.
evening. My name is Melissa Ballard. I represent the Broadway Group from Huntsville, Alabama.
Okay.
It's 216 West Side Square.
Thank you so much.
We're petitioning to carve out a 2-acre parcel from the master parcel for a commercial freestanding single-tenant retail store.
Okay. Any questions from the commission? Any comments? Anyone wish to speak for or against? If not, a motion's in order.
Motion to approve.
Got an approval from Cruz. Is there a second?
Second.
And second. All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Item number 2 by Larry Speaks and Associates representing Justin Todd, requesting final approval of Hopper Gilmer Hall Plat number 1A on the northeast corner of Madison Avenue and Vonora Avenue.
Hey, I'm Paul McClendon with Larry Speaks and Associates, and on behalf of Mr. Justin Todd, we are requesting plat approval for Hopper Gilmer Hall Plat number 1A. It's a replat of Lot 5 of the original plat. The purpose of the replat is there's actually 2 residential structures on the property now, and they would just like to split the lot evenly and create separate parcels for each. Each structure already has separate utilities serving them, as is.
The house, or looks like the garage behind or the house, that's the second one?
That's correct,
Yeah.
yes. Now, there's no garage or anything. I think it's actually a residential structure.
House, apartment,
That's right, yeah.
a dwelling.
No, right.
Is it your intent to renovate that building behind?
It is. The front parcel has already been renovated. The rear parcel, they do intend to renovate it and add off-street parking and a driveway on Vonora.
Let me ask the planning department. I see the note says it's not in compliance. You guys disagree with it?
Currently, it's already not in compliance because the lot width is smaller than what is required by zoning. So it's already not in compliance. This is not going to make a difference because the lot width along Madison is not changing.
But the new situation that he wanted to prove, do you guys agree with it or disagree with it?
Yes, the new lot that's gonna create that second lot in the back is fine.
As far as you guys are concerned?
Yes.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Anyone wish to speak for or against? Yes, ma'am. If y'all would come up and give your, yes, sir, ma'am and sir. If you would give your name and address, please, ma'am.
My name is
Yeah, pull it down to where
There you go. Okay. My name is Beverly Jackson. I live at 28 Vonora Avenue, and my property is right next door to the vacant house that the gentleman plans to renovate. And my question would be that since at this time the vacant property appears from the outside to be a two-person dwelling or two apartments, and on the proposal it indicated a single-family dwelling, and I just want to make sure that it is indeed going to be a single-family dwelling instead of two very tiny apartments.
Can you answer that question, sir? Come in and speak in the mic if you would, please. It's recorded.
As far as I know, it was only going to be a single family, but I can't speak, the owner's not present, so I can't speak to exactly what they're planning to use. I do know they do intend for it to be a rental property. So,
Okay. And it has been rented in the past?
as far as I know, it has, yes.
Okay.
Been a while.
Okay. I think someone else would like to speak. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Gene Gunner with the Capitol Heights Civic Association, and this is May Tullis. She's the president of the association. We're really here to support Barbara Jackson. She did receive a letter, but none of the other people on Vonora Avenue received any letter. And I got several emails and calls about both corners of Vonora Avenue at Madison having signs up. So I looked into the situation a little bit and met her. So I'm here to make sure she gets her questions answered. There's very little information on the diagram there. That storage building that's two-story out back, it was before the city council to be demolished at some point. Vonora is straight uphill right there. So I have some concerns about the topography, the water that comes down the hill there. And I don't really think the property is suitable for development. And I ran across something that said that the Planning Commission shall not approve the subdivision if it's determined that the best interest of the public of the site is not suitable for development purposes of the kind proposed. And unless you have further questions, that's my statement.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, ma'am, ma'am, did you have something you wanted to say?
Well, I was concerned.
No, speak into the mic and give your name and address, please, ma'am.
I don't know how there can be development. There is a
I'm sorry.
satellite tower there.
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
I said there's a satellite tower there. How can that be developed?
Ma'am, the satellite tower is on the opposite corner.
Yeah,
We're on the other
That's
corner.
item 6, okay.
yeah,
All
we'll be
right.
back for item 6.
Sir,
Does that answer for that particular side,
Yes.
please, ma'am? Okay. Yes, sir. Yes.
Sir, if you could come back to the mic,
Yes, sir.
are you against it?
Beg pardon?
I said, are you against his project?
Oh, yeah. Basically, most of the lots there are 50 by 150 thereabouts. The frontage on this is going to be twice the size of most of the lots there, and it's not but about 49 feet deep. I don't see, other than what's there, which is not in good shape, I don't see how something could be built there, and they don't show the square footage of the buildings there. And
But this is a plat, this isn't.
Right,
this
right.
that-
If they did, you'd see that it's going to be kind of tight with the easement up front and putting a building there. If they keep what's there, it might work, but I think the property values of the other residents on Vonora, they're just 50 foot wide, and there's going to be a big difference there.
Tanya, do you know what the zoning is on this?
It
It's
is
residential.
R60S, and the building at the back that they're talking about, I believe in some research we have previously done, it was either a duplex or a triplex. I'm not sure which one, but it was more than one unit at one time. And if we have legal proof that it was ever such as a duplex, they can rebuild as a duplex.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Ma'am, obviously you didn't get an answer to your questions, and the sad thing is I'm not sure anybody in here knows.
Well, even sadder, I think Ms. Clemens indicated that if it was a duplex previously, they can make it a duplex again.
Yeah,
Is
that's
that
what she
correct?
just said.
Oh, is that what? Well, so that was my concern. The property value, my property being right next door, I was concerned about my property value if a duplex was next door. However, I'm neither am I happy with a vacant house next door. That certainly diminishes my property value as well. So, well, that's it.
Okay. Okay. Is your home, I don't know, let me see if they got it. Yeah. Is your home behind the top of this lot? Is it that house?
Yes, it's right at the top of that rectangle.
Yes, ma'am.
That's my home.
Okay, right, okay, all right. Okay, and one of you mentioned the depth, I think, of these lots. Sir, I think you mentioned that. If I'm looking correct, they're both 113.7 deep.
That's frontage on Vonora Avenue.
Yeah, that's correct,
The
but that's depth. That is the depth.
Is actually the width of Lot B, which is less than 50 feet.
Well, the front of it's 50. The back of it's 49.64.
That's how deep it would be.
No,
if they-
that's how wide it is.
How are they going to access the front of the house if it's, the front of the house faces Vonora? In lot.
Now, which lot are you talking about?
Lot A.
Lot A being, okay, the back house, the duplex.
Correct.
side. Yeah,
It faces Vonora.
right,
That would be your frontage.
right.
And I believe that's 113 feet, right?
It's 100 and, yes, sir. Yes,
So the opposite, the depth of the property
is
would be
50, it's 49. And
And that's not, most of the properties are 150 feet. That's going to be tight.
okay. Okay, any other comments, questions? Anyone else wish to speak for or against? If not, motion's in order. Is there a motion?
I move to approve.
Move to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Count them. How many we got? Count, Tanya, how many we got?
I see 4.
4, okay.
Wait, 5, Mr. Hawkins, you voting for it? That's 5? Okay,
Got 5?
I do.
Okay. All righty. Thank you, sir. All right, excuse me, Tanya. 3.
Precision Surveying representing 3L Properties LLC requesting final approval of CIRG Recycling Plat 1 on the west end of Pyramid Avenue in the M1 district.
Yes, sir.
My name is Mike Marr. I represent Precision Surveying. We're at 2124 Moores Mill Road in Auburn. We did the surveying for Pinnacle Engineering. The purpose of this subdivision is simply to take the boundary survey that we completed and turn it into a subdivision plat so it can be recorded so a structure can be built on the site. The structure is being engineered by Pinnacle Engineering, David Slocum. I'm not exactly certain what he's done, but I believe that those plans have been submitted to the city engineering office.
Go back if you would. I think I missed something, okay? Go
Okay.
back to the, it's zoned M1.
Right?
Okay, and what are you gonna do with it? With the,
There's a design plan that David Slocum with Pinnacle Engineering has for that site.
Yes,
I'm not
sir.
exactly certain what's going on it.
Yes,
But
sir.
we're not changing any lot lines or easements.
Yes,
We're
sir.
simply taking an existing piece of property that was defined by legal description
Yep.
and putting it into a subdivision plat to meet the city requirements.
And you're going to put it into a subdivisional plat to do what with? A house, or you?
No, it's going to be a industrial structure. It's not a house.
Okay, all right. That's where I lost you. When you
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes. Terminology here, okay? All right.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody have a question or comment? Anyone wish to speak for or against? Not, a motion's in order.
Move to approve.
Got a move to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? I think that's unanimous. Okay. Tanya?
Item number 4, Alabama Land Surveyors representing Francisco Lopez and Patel Vasquez requesting final approval of Lopez Vasquez Plat 1 on the east side of Mobile Highway, approximately 260 feet south of I-65 in the Ag 1 district.
Good afternoon. I'm James Monk with Alabama Land Surveyors, and I'm here this afternoon to represent the plat for the Lopez and Vasquez subdivision. It's currently zoned AGR1. There's a plat, or actually a map that has been recorded. It's a survey that was recorded as a plat that kind of shows 2 lots in its current configuration, but it's drawn as one. You can kind of see on the map that's being displayed that kind of black line that cuts between the 2 parcels. That's technically not platted that way now. It was a survey that was just recorded as a plat, and I think it's just kind of fallen through the cracks in that manner. The current owners wish to divide it between a restaurant and the hotel structures in the back. And the way we've got it configured is there's kind of a line running north-south right between the structure that's the hotel and the restaurant up front. And we understand there's some sewer that would need to be added as far as a tie-in and water meters, but right now we're just trying to make sure that we can kind of work through this platting issue of it's not technically been platted currently, and we wish just to kind of clean this up.
But you're gonna use that on the, for lack of a better term, on the right side of the restaurant, you're gonna use that as the easement? Is that?
Yes, sir.
Well,
the one that's showing we won't use, we'll use the current entrance and come south of the building with a new easement to get to the back.
I get
kind of what they're doing now.
Kind of what the drawing's showing.
That's right,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Okay, any comments or questions?
When does that entrance to the lot 1 of Mobile Highway, why is it offset there?
That's
Mobley.
kind of the way the asphalt does. The entrance itself doesn't run parallel to the south property line, so it kind of comes in and then veers around the building. You talking about the easement itself?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's because that's what the current roadway is doing.
I know, but looks like they'd keep it straight.
Well,
It would hit the restaurant if we went straight.
let me ask, I want to make sure I'm understanding what you're asking. The front part of that property is outside of the plat, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so getting from the road to the property, you've got to cross, who owns that up front, or is that part of
That's part of
city?
That's
the county?
Yeah, that's current right of way. Yes, sir.
Okay, right away of the, okay.
That's right.
Okay.
It's that wide right in
Okay,
there.
okay. All right. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Anyone wish to speak for or against? If not, motion's in order.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? I guess unanimous. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jane. Okay.
Number 5, Jeffco Engineers and Surveyors representing Greater Golden Gates LLC, requesting final approval of Greater Golden Gates Plat 1 on the south side of Washington Ferry Road, approximately 2,100 feet east of Birmingham Highway.
Go ahead, Greg.
I'm Guthrie Jeffcoat with Jeffcoat Engineers and Surveyors, 928 South Hull Street, Montgomery. This property is proposed to be platted. Will be developed for religious purposes by church and has not been platted before. So this is the beginning of a process, and I really don't know what they're going to propose in their master plan, but they wanted to get the plat approved first. Okay.
Okay. And the church would fall under whatever the
Yeah, we got
the zoning is.
Yeah, got to produce a master plan that gets approved.
But I mean, it's got, right now, isn't it zoned for like a trailer park?
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be, a church would be okay in that, is that what I'm understanding?
They would have to be approved by the Board of Adjustment.
Okay, okay, all right, okay. Anyone have a comment, question on the planning commission? Anyone wish to speak for or against? If not, a motion's in order. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Right. Is there second? All those in favor? Thank you, sir.
I only got 7.
I'm sorry?
I only got 7 votes.
Who did not? Who was, oh, I'm sorry. Who, I thought we had a thing. All right, anyone against? Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, Roger.
Item number 6, Jeffco Engineers representing Amanda Stoudemire, requesting final approval of CAD's plat number 1 on the northwest corner of Madison Avenue and Vonora Avenue in the O1 district.
This is to replat into 2 lots. The property that's already located out there, you've got a house on lot A, and we sort of fitted the break layout to have another structure in the rear that's vacant now. I didn't know until I got down here that y'all had Mr. Speaks and them were platting just 2 doors down from us.
Yep.
But we're not here to change any zoning or request any changes.
So it's all office is what you're, O1?
Well, there may be a request at a later date to have a structure.
Maybe back later, huh?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And is that little storage building gonna be on lot B?
Sir?
That little storage building, is it gonna be on B or A?
It's on B.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, comments? Anyone wish to speak for or against? If not, a motion's in order.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Unanimous.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Number 7, Jeffco Engineers and Surveyors representing Robert Henderson Jr. requesting final approval of Bo Henderson Plat 1 on the north side of Westmoreland Avenue, 50 feet east of Bull Tier in the R65S district.
This is simply to change a lot layout that already exists into one lot called Lot 8A so that building can take place without encroaching on the lot line. It presently is Lot 8 and 9 of a College Park plat, and we're doing away with the interior line to make it 8A. City doesn't allow you to build a building on cross lot lines, so that's the reason we did this one.
Okay.
And I don't know about the future development on it either.
Cleaning it up.
Yeah. Okay, any comments from the planning commission, questions? Anyone wish to speak for or against? If not, a motion's in order.
Move to approve.
Got a
Second.
Got a motion plus a second. All those in favor? All those opposed?
Thank you.
All righty.
Number 8, Flowers and White Engineering representing SDS Thornton Trace LLC requesting approval of a revised master plan for property at the south end of Westfield Lane, west end of Trace Oak Circle, and the east end of Birchfield Place in a PUD.
Thanks, Tanya. Good evening. I'm Kenneth White with Flowers are White representing Thornton Trace. This is the existing Thornton Trace subdivision. We're only asking for a side yard setback. It was previously not requested in the original PUD. So we're asking it to be changed. When it's not requested, they assume a front setback on a corner lot. So the only change we're requesting is to request it from a 20 to a 10-foot side yard setback on the street side. That's the only thing we're asking for.
Just kind of cleaning it up.
Yes, sir.
And it comes out of some other things later on where
I don't know what you're talking about, buddy.
We got 10 foot. Hey, that's what you call thinking ahead, KJ.
What do they have on the rest of the neighborhood?
Who's that, sir? What was that?
What do they have on the rest of the neighborhood for a setback?
Well, the whole project is the same setback. So there's a 20-foot front, 20-foot rear, and 5 and 5, I believe, for this product type. But but on the street, where it really only affects corner lots, so I can see in the future it only affects 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all I see is 4 lots, and then maybe 6 lots. It only affects 6 lots in the whole development. So, basically it allows that building, when you face it a side street, we couldn't fit the building on the lot without changing the setback to 10. So, in the utility easement's 10 foot wide, so that's why we're requesting 10 foot.
Well, and it does. I mean, if you did it today, you would have made it 10 anyways, what you'd have done.
That's correct. It doesn't need to be a front setback. The house is facing the street, needs to be a front
Right.
setback, the side needs to be a side setback. But
Excellent.
you're supposed to ask when we did a PUD, and this was done, I don't know, 8 or 10 years ago, so I'm asking now.
Okay. All right. Any questions from planning commission, comments? Anyone wish to speak for or against? Okay, if not, motion's in order.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor? Is that, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. King.
Next item, Flowers and White Engineering representing Colonial Company. Request approval of a revised master plan to change commercial use to single-family and multifamily residential uses for property on the north side of Atlanta Highway, approximately 600 feet east of Stony Brook Way in a PUD.
Thanks, Tanya. Representing Colonial Company. This is next to the Seventh-day Adventist right there. It's currently part of a PUD with a commercial designation. So we're asking the PUD to be revised to allow single-family and multifamily. Our only access point would be off of Atlanta Highway on the southwest corner of that parcel that you see right there. I can entertain any questions. Should y'all have any?
I have a question.
Yes, sir, Mr. Reed.
The multifamily residence, what is that?
The multifamily designation?
Yes.
What it is a multifamily. It'll be attached.
Is it going to be a condo? Is it going to be?
No, it'll be an attached product for rental purposes. I mean, several attached products together. The density, I believe, is 40 units is the max that we're asking for right there. So it's not a lot of density, but we're asking for. I can see anything from a duplex or to a 4 together or a 2-story apartment. They're still looking at the product type right there.
What size is the lot? What is the lot size?
Well, it's one lot. If you go back to the PUD, it's a block of a lot right there.
Well, okay, on the single family, let's go to the single family.
Yes, sir.
Is that really going to be a 40-foot lot size?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And the house is going to be about what square foot?
30. So there's 5-foot side setbacks. There'll be a 30-foot in width house.
No, I mean about what size is the square footage of the house?
Josh, can you elaborate?
Come up, Josh.
Yeah.
Hey, Josh Louder with Colonial Company. 1,200 to 1,800. If it's a true 2-story stack, could get up to 2,200 square feet.
So the single family house is going to, the single family residence is going to be 2 stories?
Yes, 1.5 to 2-story.
And the multifamily could be?
It could be 1.5 to 2-story also.
Okay.
It's a medium density, so single family would be considered higher density than a typical, and the multifamily would be considered lower density than the typical. So it balances out to be about medium. The multifamily is about 40% of the 10.5 acres, and 60% is single family. So it's majority single family.
You planning on anything sooner too?
So
there will be one pool, and I'm not sure about a common house or not, so common pool house.
But y'all are going to do, Josh, in the multifamily, it can and is it intended on the front end to be rental too?
Yes.
I mean, that's the intended purpose.
Yes.
When you get through to have to have rental units.
Yes, it is not intended to be condos.
Okay, all right.
There will be a neighborhood association though.
Have y'all got something like that out at Hampstead?
We do.
That's what I thought.
We have low-density 2-story multifamily that we finished a year and a half ago.
Yeah, okay, all right.
And a lot of the homes in Hampstead are actually this thin, so 30 to 50-foot lots.
And you got some out there that are in the middle of a block that are rental units that blend in with the residential and all?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The majority of the lots are in Hampstead are 42-foot wide, so that's probably the most popular product.
At where? At Hampstead?
At Hampstead.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Have you talked to those people around that area?
Well, it's not adjacent to anyone. There's vacant land behind us, undeveloped land that's part of the PUD too, and then there is one office building to the left, and then there's Lamar office building to the right. So I've not talked to the two commercial people. I assume they're fine with it because it's not a commercial use, not really a competitor. It's single family, low impact from a traffic. Well, he can speak better.
I mean, it's designated as commercial now, so this would be less, less traffic if it were to go to a single family multi.
Sound like good use for a piece of property.
Well, to be correct on it, the property behind it is being developed now.
Is that?
That's part of Stony Brook.
Put in, and it'll probably take 3 years to sell, and I think this will be finished before that. And that would then be the end, the
Get on the mic,
closeout
the
of
mic.
property.
Mike, speaking to the mic.
That would be the closeout to the Stony Brook development at that point. That would be the final.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Anyone wish to speak for or against? Yes, sir. Come up, give your name and address if you would, please, sir.
Just something he said. I don't.
Name and address.
Jesse Miles, and I live in Bell Station.
All right, sir.
It's off of Bell and Bond Road. He said there could be a homeowners association where you have rental property in a development. I didn't know you could have a homeowners association because it'd be a homeowner, wouldn't it?
If you have separate plats,
Speaking to
the mic.
Mike.
if you have separate plats, you can set up an association for that.
And so you can ask renters to pay a homeowners association due.
No.
Speaking to it.
Sorry, this is just like any PUD around the town. You have different products. You have multifamily, single-family, office use. And most PUDs have an association. Those monies are funded to improve the lights, the landscaping, the amenity that Josh plans on doing. So we set up associations in multiple PUDs. I haven't, but the lawyers have.
Okay, just one more question. So it's not a coveted, so it's volunteer that you pay the due or not? Or is it like they attach it to your lien on your house if you don't pay a due if it's a coveted neighborhood? So I'm interested in that.
Y'all have a homeowners association set up right now, don't you, out there? Or
Yes, we do. This one will be separate. This one will, one potential end use would be to sell each of the individual single families to an end user, and that's why you need an association set up. And besides the fact, when you do that, if you have a common amenity such as the pool, that's how you pay for it.
Well, I think this gentleman is basically asking, if it's a rental, then the homeowners association dues will come with the rental payment. It would be a part of the rental payment.
If it's a rental, then the landlord pays the
landlord
association.
pays.
It's more of a long-term strategy.
Into the mic.
The association, whoever owns the land, it pays the dues. So if it's a rental, I guess, Josh, you'll be putting some money into the association. That's right.
Okay. Any other questions? Comments? Okay. Motion would be in order. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? All those opposed? Okay. Thank you, Josh.
Item number 10, Flowers and White Engineering, representing Shirley Jones, requesting approval of a master plan and to rezone 2 parcels of land containing 119 acres on the south side of Bond Road, approximately 1,200 feet east of Bell, from an R85 and Ag 1 district to a PUD.
Thanks, Tanya. I'm representing Shirley Jones, the landowner for this tract. I'm sure all of us have driven by this tract millions of times. I'll call it the hat fence property. I'm not sure where that started. Approximately 119 acres, zone R85 and Ag, and we're requesting a PUD rezoning. This property was, I don't know, several years ago, presented in front of y'all. I believe it was pulled before city council. And there's several comments from the adjacent property owners that were of record in that presentation. And we tried to craft a plan to hear some of those comments, and a couple of the comments that they didn't want cross connectivity to Billingsley Place to the east and to Bellwood to the west. So we tried to craft a plan to not have those access points. We show a 30-foot beautification parcel actually on the east and west side to show some buffer against those properties. Councilman Pruitt and Councilman Jenwright set up a neighborhood meeting that with the adjacent property subdivisions. We had that Monday. I don't know, probably 80 or so, I'm just guessing, were there. Had a great conversation. They had some concerns with traffic. They had some concerns with the amount of lots that were proposed. I have our traffic consultant here, Paul Gilliam. He works for the city on some access management, and we've engaged him to do a traffic study to talk about the traffic. Paul, do you want to come up at this time? But so the product we're asking for is a 50-foot wide product with 5-foot setbacks on the sides and 20 in the front and 15 in the rear. Paul, do you want to talk about your findings?
KJ, let me ask you one quick question, if I could.
Yes, Mr.
This appears that it lines up with the entry into Bellwood across the way.
Yes, sir.
And I'm assuming that at some point somebody would want a light. I rode through Bellwood and back today, and I was afraid I was going to have to call my wife about 3:30 and tell her I was not going to make it back because I was trying to take a left in there, and I thought if this thing doesn't get a traffic light, then something's wrong. Now, is that the plan, or is this gentleman going to tell us what the plan is?
You beat me to the punch, Mr. Buddy.
Huh?
You beat me to the punch. So
this was the good part, huh?
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
Come on.
Well, if I were a neighbor, I know one thing across the street, I'd darn sure want a traffic light there.
Great. I'll let Paul discuss that.
All right. Come on, Paul.
Let me ask you something, Paul. Have you completed the study, or are you still doing the study?
The study is ongoing. It's just about completed. We have some preliminary findings right now.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm Paul Gilliam with Sane Associates. And as KJ mentioned, we're conducting a traffic study.
Give address, if you would, please, sir.
My address is 140 Sheffield Lane, Birmingham, Alabama.
Thank you.
And just to give a quick overview of some of the results along Vaughn Road, the existing conditions, we have Vaughn and Taylor. We're looking at AM level of service for the intersection of D and then the E in the afternoon, which is pretty consistent with a very big, busy intersection. The intersection at Vaughn and Bell Road is failing currently during both the AM and the PM peak hours. In the background conditions, which is basically that's the future conditions without this particular development, we're looking at Vaughn and Taylor still operating at level of service D in the AM and then E in the afternoon. Vaughn and Bell will continue to operate at a level of service F during both peak hours.
Explain D and E and F and all to these people.
Yes. So I imagine there's a lot of parents here in the audience. So think of it just like your child's report card. If they come in with an A, you're pretty dang happy. If they come in with an F, they have some explaining to do.
So now you want to go back and tell what was the...
Right, so in the case of Bell Road and Vaughn, they would have some explaining to do because they have level of service F during the AM and PM peak hours. And then the Vaughn and Taylor, you're looking at level of service D during the AM and then a level of service E in the PM. And then with the development in place In the future, we're looking at level of service D during the AM peak hour at Vaughn and Taylor, and then E again in the PM. And then once again, the Bell and Vaughn will be, excuse me, level of service F during the AM and PM peak hours. There will be additional delays, but they'll still essentially operate at the same level of service. One thing that you mentioned, Chairman, which you pretty much took my statement from me.
I
Which is,
stole it, huh?
Yeah. You basically solved the problem for everyone, which is installing a traffic signal at the site entrance. If you put a signal at that intersection, you're looking at level service A during both the AM and PM peak hours. More importantly, that signal will offer you some increased opportunities to coordinate traffic signals along the corridor so that you get some additional delay reduction associated with that. And then more to the point that you just made, I was out there this afternoon, and I was just telling the KJ, unfortunately, it's just a matter of when, not if there's a fatality coming out of that intersection from that subdivision, because right now, making a left turn out of there with the amount of gaps or the limited amount of gaps that you have on Vaughn Road, combined with the fact that people are rolling 50, 60 miles an hour or more, it just lends itself to a fatality from an angle collision. So adding a traffic signal would definitely help on that front in terms of reducing the probability of that happening.
And the level of service would go from what to what with the traffic signal in the peak at morning and afternoon?
Let's see here. We have, it's going to be A with the traffic signal. A, which is
in the morning.
And in the PM.
And the PM, okay.
And then the side streets without the traffic signal would all be Fs. So both sides. So the subdivision, the existing subdivision would be F in the AM peak hour, F in the AM peak hour, and then likewise, the new subdivision would also be F during both the AM.
Without it?
Without
Okay,
the traffic
okay,
signal.
Okay.
Would it matter if there was two roads coming out of the proposed subdivision? Would that change anything?
Yes, sir, it would.
Would it change for the better or for the worse?
I would need to do the analysis, but to give you the short answer, it would be, you would be able to divert some of the trips away from that main entrance to another entrance, and so there would be less pressure on.
No, I mean, if you had two entrances coming into Vaughn, would that matter? Would that make a difference? You know, one is closer to Publix and the other closer to, where there's one now, coming out of there now?
I think it would make it, it's going to make a difference, but I think you would need to really look at the corridor holistically because you have a lot of access to the east of the subdivision also. As long as you have the spacing in between the site accesses and there's not a lot of friction in between, there could definitely be some benefit associated with a second entrance.
We are separate, our exit. Yeah. No, our exit out of our development, we talked about the policy, we're going to have, a dedicated left and a dedicated right leaving our site as well as a dedicated inner. So it's, approximately 36 foot wide leaving our site. So from a queuing standpoint, your left movement will not be affected by the people going eastbound on Vaughn because we are providing a eastbound lane coming out of our development, if that makes sense.
So you're going to have, go ahead, Frank.
Sir.
If I heard you correctly, Bell Road and Vaughn Road right now is an F. Is that correct?
Oh.
That's correct, sir.
And all this is going to do is just, this development is just going to make it a lower F. F is, I assume, below 60 or below 70 or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, okay.
It's just going to make it that much worse.
No.
It can increase delay, obviously, because you're going to increase trips, but part of what we're tasked to do is to look at different options to minimize that impact from the development.
But you said when we got through with it, Bell and Vaughn would still be an F.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought I heard, but I just want to make sure.
Wes, what you had to say? Paul and I and our client has been working with the city engineer about this traffic report. You want to chime in?
Yeah, so my name's Wesley Cox, traffic engineer for the city of Montgomery. I've worked a little bit with Paul on this. I wanted to address the question about a second entrance. I think what you would see there is you're obviously going to split the traffic that's entering and exiting the subdivision. That would be more so of a help to that traffic that's entering and exiting, which he's showing in this case with a signal would be a level service A. I don't think you gain a lot of advantage by doing that for the neighborhood traffic. When you're looking at the Vaughn Road traffic, again, I don't see it really helping improve that flow. If we can coordinate the single entrance with the traffic signal with the other signals in the area, I think that's the best case for Vaughn Road. That second entrance, you wouldn't want a second signal. It would be too close. So you're looking at an unsignalized intersection. Then you got to look at, do you want to restrict some of the access to it? Do you want to make it a right in, right out? Or do you want to give it a full unsignalized left in and left out? And I think you run into the same issues you've got at Mill Ridge right now, where you're going to have people trying to make those left turns unsignalized. I'm kind of in favor of the single entrance with the traffic signal. So that's just kind of my thoughts on that discussion about the two entrances.
We want to thank you for being here.
Amen.
Thank you. I mean, very much. That's it's very nice to have the traffic in it because it comes up all the time, and we appreciate that.
As long as you're here, let me just ask you about the ones that are Fs and Ds right now. Is there any plans with the city to have any improvement in that?
There's not a project on the books to address it.
Okay.
But we are aware of the issues there. Bell Road is at the point where it needs increased capacity through that intersection. It needs the additional lanes. There's width there. We've got right of way and we've got some pavement width there to do some things, but that's to the point where we do need to look at a project to address that. And as he mentioned, there is an impact. This is going to add trips through that intersection. That's something that we do need to address.
Let me ask y'all, both of y'all, another question, if I could. What entity actually would approve that? Is that because isn't that's a state road too, isn't it? It's not.
Taylor Road is a state road.
Okay.
Vaughn and Bell are both city.
So it would be out of the city. It would not have to be. It wouldn't be out of the county or the state or anything.
It would be.
You the man.
Yes.
And you foresee that there would be would have to have a traffic light there. Is that what I'm understanding?
I do. With a single entrance point on the Vaughn Road.
Yes, sir.
It would need. I think it would need a traffic signal. I do want to see their traffic study, and they're going to run through a traffic signal warrant analysis that the FHWA puts out that really gives you the specific guidance on it. But just knowing the size of this property and the amount of trips it's going to generate, and the current traffic on Vaughn Road, I'm confident it'll need a traffic signal.
Okay.
Well, can I say something, Mr. Buddy?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're proposing a traffic signal. We've promised that, but would a traffic signal actually help the situation now without our development? I would imagine it would.
Sure, with a no-build situation, as you mentioned when we started this discussion, Mill Ridge is already in a difficult situation, and I'm sure his numbers would show we're at an E or an F for making those left turns out. Another thing, Vaughn Road is coordinated, our signals are coordinated with each other from Laurelwood, which is just to the east, and then through Taylor Road and out east from there. We have some coordination back to the west towards St. James, Montgomery Catholic, and back towards East Boulevard. The gap kind of where Bell Road falls, it's difficult to coordinate those signals because when they're closer together, you have an opportunity to keep cars together. You have a limited amount of change in that traffic between those, so we're able to move the traffic through with the coordination. When you get a bigger gap, cars start to get separated, you start to get more in and out onto the road, and it's harder to keep it flowing. This would, I don't know that it would be a huge help, but it would allow us to better coordinate Bell to Taylor Road and keep those cars grouped together as they move through those signals. So when you do allow the traffic in and out of the new subdivision or out of Mill Ridge, you're also stopping your other signals, whether it's at Bell Road or down at Laurelwood, so they all kind of work together. So I think we can get away with not having a major impact and a major reduction in level of service on Vaughn Road.
What impact does it have not having exits except that one? And I know that's what was discussed previously.
Yes, so we talked a little bit about having two on Vaughn Road, which to me doesn't...
Two more going where?
Well, we talked originally about what if we add another one on Vaughn Road, which I think doesn't make a big difference. Originally, there was a plan to connect to the east on the Variet and to the west on, I can't remember which street it was,
right,
into the neighborhood there. That, just purely from a traffic standpoint, that's an improvement because now people have a choice. If I'm going east, I can use that east entrance. If I'm going to the west, I may use the west entrance, and it takes the pressure off of the single entrance and exit. But of course, there's other issues there that come up that the other neighborhoods want to look at there. But purely from a traffic standpoint, yes, those additional entrances and exits to other directions is going to split that traffic up and make it easier to get in and out.
And give them access to a signaled intersection.
Yes.
From the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
One question for you. If he has not finished the traffic study, the people who live across the street, those people, they're looking for a traffic study, and he's looking for a traffic study. Why can't you just bring it to us after the traffic study has been done and he's printed it? He could take a look at it, they can take a look at it, and everybody...
Well, again, the traffic study, I understand, is pretty much complete. We had a meeting with Wesley.
Yeah, but we're not talking about pretty much complete.
No, I'm trying to explain, Mr. Reed. So we met with Wesley on Tuesday. Wesley, you wanted some additional traffic information from the study, and that's what he's trying to complete is that. But, regardless, we're still going to, the traffic study is going to show that the signalization is required, and we're prepared to do a signal. There's one access point that we're proposing, and the signal warrant will be completed, but we're going to do a signal as long as Wesley is okay with doing a signal, and that's what we're proposing. Again, the traffic study, I understand, was trying to get some areas that Wesley wanted to include in the traffic study, and that's what's trying to be completed right now. So.
Yeah, but I specifically asked him, has he completed the traffic study? He said no.
Is that fair to say, Paul? You were trying to finish what Wesley was asking?
I asked him a few minutes ago, have you completed the traffic? Before he introduced himself. That was the first thing I asked him.
And my response was the traffic study is mostly completed. The
but
findings.
It's not complete.
Yeah, the findings are not I don't see the findings changing.
But it's not complete, is what you're saying.
Yeah, right. It's not fully reviewed and so forth. You're correct.
All right.
But you know where it's going to wind up, and that's what you're telling us?
Yeah, the recommendations that we've developed are finalized. For the most part, we just need to do the signal warrant assessment, as KJ and Wesley mentioned.
Okay.
Again, in our meeting, in our meeting with the council members as well as the neighborhood, Councilman Pruitt wanted to have another meeting with the neighborhood with the traffic report in hand, prior to going to city council for, should we be successful for city council to act on the rezoning request. So we will have another meeting with the neighborhood prior to city council with a traffic study in hand. So that was another reason.
Okay. All right, any other?
Would you be willing to postpone this till after that?
Well, I understand, Mr. Reeves, this is a process, and, Councilman Pruitt says he's not going to vote for it unless we have another meeting with him. So that's why we want to have another meeting with the neighborhood as well as the council members prior to their vote. So, we would like to go ahead to the city council if it's okay. But, so we want to have another, like I said, we're going to have another meeting with the neighborhood, with the traffic report, and hopefully maybe you can show up, Leslie, if that's okay, prior to them adopting any kind of zoning that we're asking for.
But at the end of the day, it's not going to change the plat, the layout, the lots, et cetera.
No, that's
so that's, we're talking about a rezoning now.
That's right, Mr. Harvick. And then, as I understand, tell me if I'm wrong, Tanya, the Comprehensive Vision 2040 plan recommends the use that we're providing. So I don't think that staff had any objection to the use that we're using.
Okay.
Wesley, one last question, promise. The new school coming to Bell Road, is that gonna affect the traffic on Vaughn and Bell?
Yes, that was a study done by another traffic engineer that we received and reviewed. And again, going back to Mr. Cook's question earlier about that intersection is at the point that it needs some attention, needs capacity increased. That school will generate more trips through that intersection. Yes, it will. It's just the answer. Level of service change is not, you're not going to see a change in the level of service. You're probably going to see slight delay increase. But again, the volume on Bell Road is in excess of the capacity through there right now. So to answer your question, yes, it will have an impact on that intersection.
If his study shows it's going to be an A, and that's not including the Bell Road School.
No, so
with the Bell Road School, will that knock that A down to a B or C?
When he's telling you that it's a level of service A, he's talking about the entrance and exit of the neighborhood. He's talking about the traffic that's exiting that neighborhood would be a level of service A. If you don't have the signal, it would be an F for them because it's going to be, as was mentioned before, it's going to be so difficult to get out with no signal. So that's his level of service A. He's showing a D to an F. Vaughn Road's probably about a D or an E for that traffic that's traveling east and west, and Bell Road is at an F. So when he's saying A, he's talking specifically that entrance and exit out of the neighborhood, the new neighborhood. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense, but that wasn't what I interpreted. But go ahead.
Yeah. So, what he's showing is with a build situation, there's really no change in the level of service to the Vaughn and Bell Road traffic. It still kind of stays about the level it is now.
I think you can argue, and tell me if I'm wrong, Leslie, the life safety issues of having a traffic signal at that intersection in the left turn movements from Mill Ridge and our proposed entrance will be greatly benefited by the traffic signal.
That's right. I mean, with the volume of traffic on Vaughn Road, any conflicting movement, left turns in or out, are going to be very difficult without a signal.
Okay. Any other comments or questions by the Planning Commission? Anyone wish to speak for or against? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Come on up and give your. You can come on up to just so we know what. And give name and address,
okay.
Please, sir.
Well, my name is Cornelius Maryland. I live in Bell Station, 2212 Cannonball Drive. And I'm the vice president of the HOA. And one of our concerns is the volume and the traffic flow. And from what I've heard during this discussion, not a lot of meat on the bone that they're provided. And with the school, with the gas stations being built, and I don't know if the relationship that he has with the city versus the county, how are they going to mirror those traffic lights? And it will decrease the amount of, well, increase the amount of time that someone is leaving to go to work, to school, or to leave the subdivision. So there's just a lot of different things that need to be addressed as far as the survey. With his proposal of 409 homes, did he consider at least 2 cars or 3 cars per home? Is that going to be a part of the survey? And any other new, I mean, because I have no idea what's going to be in the survey. And I got a little concerned when he was discussing it because I was totally confused on that.
Who are you speaking about?
As far as the representative for the survey, you know, the traffic survey.
Okay.
And wasn't really sure as far as how that information being incomplete, how it would even benefit us as far as how do we move forward? How is it going to be impactful as far as the area that we're dealing with?
Okay. So you had a question about the number of parking spaces for the units on this. That was one.
Yeah, because he's proposing 409 homes.
If you don't mind, we will get you that answer in just a moment.
Okay.
KJ, if you would make that on your list, because I know you have it in your plans. Okay. Who else?
And one more thing, I just want to make sure.
I'm sorry.
Okay. I want to make sure what is involved in doing a survey. I want to make sure that the school, the future school is incorporated, the Chevron station, the gas station's included, and any other things that are associated with that. Because
we will let him answer that also, okay? It's going to be based on, I can assure you, what's there now, simply because, but I'm not going to speak for him.
Okay.
We got 2 questions.
And one more thing, how's the traffic light is in sync with the county versus the city?
The county's not part of that. It's what he just said. It's the city has it.
Well, Bill Road, is Bill Road a part of the county or it's part of the city? And is Vaughn Road part of the city or the county?
It's all city.
Oh, it's all city.
Yeah,
okay. Okay.
All right, sir. And we will be answering your question. Yes, ma'am.
Rhonda Miles, 6900 Shortline Circle, Bell Station. I want to apologize right up front if I reiterate something that's been answered because I can't hear y'all.
You know what? You're not the first one that says that.
I know.
We're the same way. That's the reason we got to have you speak right.
Yes, I've been here before and I expected it, but
Well, pull it down so we can hear you.
All right.
There you go.
So here's my question on the traffic study. I know that's been addressed, but there's also going to be a car wash and a dollar store at the gas station. So that's a lot of traffic. And I don't really see how you can say, oh, the traffic's going to be cool when you don't even have all the traffic that's going to be involved in the situation. So that's a concern. Number 2, okay, so D.R. Horton is going to build almost 1,000 houses, 409 next to us, and then 356 down Taylor, and I understand they're going to be building on Atlanta Highway. Who are all these houses for? I mean, Montgomery population is decreasing. They're not going to sell and build. They're going to build and then sell. So these houses are going to sit there vacant. They're little tiny cottages. There's 0 property lines. I don't know who's going to want to live there. I ask you guys when you're voting, do you want to live in this neighborhood? If you don't, I don't see how in a clear conscience you can say, well, this is good, because you're going to have about 1,500 extra cars just with this. And I also want to talk about, there's 3 levels of this housing. 130 square foot, $130 per square foot is the minimum. And then there's second tier and then the premium. So D.R. Horton is proposing to use the lowest 130 square foot. And so you're using the cheapest materials you can to build these houses. Again, I don't know who's going to be wanting to buy these houses. and they're going to sit vacant. Then you're going to have crime, you're going to have vandalism, then you're going to have investors coming in and buying these houses and renting them, and renters generally don't take care of their property like homeowners, and how is that going to affect our property value? And I don't know if there's going to be multifamily units. I couldn't really understand that, but I'm thinking with the square footage that they're doing, how many two-story houses are they going to have? We currently have a street, Station Court, little garden homes, and they build apartments on the other side. Those people literally can be on their balcony and look in our neighbor's backyard. I mean, you can't build a fence tall enough to have some privacy. So I'm a little bit concerned with how many two-story houses are going to be butted up to our neighborhood for privacy. And so we had talked a little bit about the beautification and have a 30-foot buffer zone between these subdivisions. And it was suggested perhaps we could put some Leland cypress in there. I don't know who's going to take care of the Leland cypress. I don't know who's going to cut the grass for this 30 feet. But I do know that Publix on Vaughn, they had some cypress, and you know, I picked the little bagworms off of their cypress and took them in, and I said, if y'all don't do something about this, this is going to be decimated in a short period of time. Well, you know what? They took them out. They don't have those cypresses anymore because of bagworms will just, you have to hand pick them. That's the only way you can get rid of bagworms. And if you have a tree that's 20 foot tall, I just can't imagine they're going to have ladders out there picking those bagworms off. But we're wondering about the environmental study. I don't know who all's concerned about that, but we have coyotes that come in our neighborhood. There's rabbits in our neighborhood, and maybe we just don't care. And, you know, business is business, and too bad for the animals, but I did want to bring that up. And we want to have a guarantee that they will not cut through our neighborhood. We have an older neighborhood, an older population in our neighborhood, and we have really striven to buy these houses and upgrade these houses and to have construction equipment and cars going through our neighborhood at the end of our life when we're supposed to be on Easy Street. It's just not a pleasant thing. And we asked D.R. Horton, did they have any lawsuits, and they said no.
Had what? I'm sorry.
Any lawsuits? Because they've built 88,000 houses last year. They want to build this subdivision, one off of Taylor, one off Atlanta Highway. I hear they want to build over in County Downs. And on the Nextdoor app, which it's the internet, so, but I mean, it's just all these complaints about D.R. Horton, and they have lawsuits in 29 states. And my neighbor just recently moved to Daphne, and they had a house built by D.R. Horton, and I wish you could hear her. She said it is awful. It's class action lawsuits. Now, he said there were no lawsuits, but she said there's class action lawsuits there. It's so bad that there's pasture land behind her house, and the people that own it won't sell it to D.R. Horton because of the level of building that they're doing. And so we are concerned about that.
Yeah, ma'am. You're going to have to wind it down.
Okay. We are worried about the long-term value of our house if they are building there.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wish to? Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I promise you will.
Good evening. My name is Cassandra Simons. I'm a board member with the Billingsley Place HOA. And our concerns with this new neighborhood going up are basically two, as they specifically apply to Billingsley Place. And one is proximity, because you can see on the map, it backs right up to houses along that fence line. If they build two-story homes along that line, then you could potentially have people looking into the backyards of all of our homeowners that own homes along that line. So that's a big concern. We asked them about that at the meeting on Monday, and the guys said, well, we think we could work something out. Well, that's nothing concrete. We need something in concrete that would say that there are only one-story homes that'll be built along that line, backing up to our homeowners' properties. If they back up to us, a variant dead ends up against their property. So we would need some type of barrier, preferably a metal fence, brick wall, something aesthetically pleasing to separate our property from that property. We were also told that their new builds, those homes again that would back up to our homes, won't come with privacy fences. So that land is just open. They did say there's a 30-foot, I think they call it a beautification parcel, but just like Ms. Miles talked about, if it's trees, what kind of trees? If it's a berm, how is it going to be constructed? But we do need, whatever it is, we will need some fencing to separate Billingsley Place from that subdivision.
Ma'am, do you have anything that's really specifically different? Do you have anything that's really specifically different than what the lady just commented on?
Yes, because,
Okay.
well, yes, because a big issue is trying to run traffic through a variant into that new subdivision and vice versa. It would come through our small subdivision. The traffic from the new subdivision will come through our small subdivision out onto a variant, if that's ever a consideration.
Well, I don't even understand what you're talking about. There's no exit out of it other than.
There is no exit.
There is no exit, but do we have confirmation that there will never be an exit?
Yeah,
Now, that I can't answer.
it's on here.
I mean, the plan as submitted does not have any exits out of it.
Okay, so they can't arbitrarily try to open that up.
I'm not going to go that far. Look, nobody up here has the authority to tell you that there's never going to be something. And they're not going to tell you that. I don't know. I know this, the plat that's before us does not have exits. That's what was understood the neighbors wanted. That's what they're getting.
Okay.
That's what I understand.
Okay.
So as far as going beyond that, no, nobody can do that.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, nothing that wasn't already discussed.
And we would appreciate that unless somebody has something that really is different.
Mine's really different.
All right, sir.
I agree that the best would be no development. I agree a stoplight is already needed. I'm talking about the exits, that's right, I'm different.
Name and address, and there you go. Hey, now we can hear that one.
Scott Lousman, Bellwood East. There doesn't need to be an exit on Vaughn. She knows this. A variant and Cannonball are built to come into there. If you have two open, you can have cross-through traffic. I know they don't want that. If you have one, it's the least bad option is what I'm talking about. If you come in through Vaughn, Vaughn is already Fs and are going to be Fs. He said there'd be A at the entrance, but still Fs at the intersections. Putting an entrance on Vaughn is the worst option. You could have an entrance at a variant, which she does not like. That's where we differ. Or you could do it from Cannonball. I think it would be 1, 2, 3 would be the least impact on the rest of the city. So I'm strongly saying that there should be no exit onto Vaughn. You already have traffic backing up from Bell Road to Millwich Drive right now.
So how you get how you get in and out if you don't have exits on Vaughn and you don't have exits to the subdivisions?
That's what I'm saying.
How do you get out?
The road is built right there. A variant. That's your exit.
All right, go ahead.
It's a nice setup because you got gentle curves before you get to a side road before you get to Taylor.
Okay, you want an exit, no exits on Vaughn, and no exits on the east and west side of it?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, that's what you're saying.
I'm saying the best exit would be on a variant.
Okay. All right. All right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You talking about Avert?
You do?
No,
Okay.
You talking about Avert?
All right.
You mispronouncing it, I think.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I agree, no developer is the best. I'm saying if you're going to have an exit, and only one, a variette would be the best, Cannonball would be number 2. You avoid putting all that traffic on the Vaughn Road.
Okay.
And you still need I agree, there also should be a stoplight there even now.
Okay. Anything else?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. Ma'am, do you have anything that is distinctly different than what's already been said? Come on up, name, address, and please, ma'am.
Felicia Williams, 2032 Station Court. I believe I speak on behalf of all of my neighbors in the Bell Station subdivision that we are concerned that this is a very dense population that's being planned, and the lots are, the quality of the homes, based on what I understand, will not be all brick. So the quality of the homes and the size of the lots are, I have a garden home in Bell Station. It's a 50-foot wide lot. So now we have 141 homes in our subdivision that are being surrounded by 409 homes that are really of lesser value than the least of the homes that are in our neighborhood, which my garden home area, like I said again, is 50 feet wide, and they're all brick homes. So now we're talking about 409 homes with 50-foot lots that are not all brick. And that's all I have to say. Not a question, just a comment.
Thank
I'd
you,
like
ma'am.
to be considered.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Anything, you do have something that's, okay, please come forward.
Good evening. My name is Francesca Romano. I live in the Bellwood division, right across from this lot.
Y'all, we're ending it after this one, okay? We're ending it after this.
This lot has a problem with mobility that the traffic light, in addition of a traffic light, is not going to solve the problem. I think it extends more of like creating sidewalks. Is this lot going to be beneficial to the community outside of just creating homes? It seems that creating homes here, you could connect a lot of you could connect the neighborhoods. So my question is, like, as someone who has lived in the lots, in the neighborhood across from this lot almost her whole life, will this promote like connection to the Publix, connection to the CVS? It gets really hard to move if you don't have a car. So my question is, like, how will this promote community? How could it be environmentally friendly? Like, how could we ease traffic through like sidewalks or pedestrian areas? Because I could walk to the CVS. It's a little dangerous, and it's difficult. So assuming that there are going to be children there, like, how will this lot like dedicate to them? And, you know, just how could it really promote community? Yeah, I just don't think one traffic light will solve the traffic issue, nor will it really do anything impactful. So.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. KJ, would you come back up here and answer the gentleman's question that,
I'm sorry, Mr. Hardwood, which question?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to get Paul. Paul has to.
One about the gas station.
Yeah, that's right. I do have to run
That's why I
after this.
played you secretary.
No, I'm not just trying to get away, but my son's locked out of the house right now. So,
All right, sir. And we're fixing to lose 2 people, so, up here, so.
Well, first of all, that was an excellent question. And I'll just kind of walk you through briefly what a traffic impact study is and what it encompasses. So it's federally processed. There's an organization called the Institute of Transportation Engineers, which I'm a member of, but one of the things that ITE does is they publish a trip generation manual that has hundreds of land uses from around the country where they've collected trip generation data and then published it in a book and then online as well. So one of the first things you do when you're doing a traffic impact study is you baseline everything. So you go out there and we collect turning movement counts. If we're in a very urbanized area, like I worked a lot in Washington, D.C. and Atlanta, we have to collect pedestrian counts and transit vehicle counts depending on how many bus lines you would have. This isn't the case here. But essentially everything that's using the road would need to be counted in baseline, and then that gives you your existing conditions level of service. When you combine that count data with your traffic signal timing data and your roadway intersection geometry, So that's how you end up with the level of service of A through F for the existing conditions. The next thing we do is to develop the background conditions, which is the future conditions without the proposed development. So the background conditions includes the things like the school that they're mentioning, other developments on Taylor Road and Vaughn Road as well. We also incorporate a regional growth factor. So like in the case of Taylor Road, there's growth happening on Taylor Road that's independent of all of this because it's a regional facility across Montgomery. And so there's another growth factor that you have to add to account for the overall regional growth plus the local growth in the area. And then you combine those with the existing counts and you end up with what we call background conditions. And then those levels of service are what I was reporting as the without development condition. And then the final future scenario that we describe is the background conditions with the development added to it. And in this case, the ITE trip generation manual is used to calculate the number of trips produced by this development during the AM and PM peak hour. Just to give everyone a general rule of thumb, there's about 10 trips per household per day is what we use in the planning arena. So when you apply that to the peak hour, that's roughly about a couple of hundred trips that are coming and going out of the subdivision during the peak hours. And then it'll be split by the direction depending on, the IT also has what percent of people come in to the subdivision and what percent comes out of the subdivision for both the AM and the PM peak hour conditions. So that's how you get your directional distribution.
Let me make a suggestion. I think your son needs you. There's a person here that understood all that. So, KJ, have you got anything else before we vote?
I'll try to answer just a few questions. The nice lady said, and I'm going to invite my client to come up here in a second to talk about the houses and what D.L. Horton builds. But, Billingsley Place is a wonderful community. I did the engineering for Billingsley Place 10, 15 years ago. Ms. Graham sold the property that she lives on to Billingsley Place.
To who?
To Ms. Graham, who owns the property here, and Shirley Jones. That family sold that property to Billingsley Place, to the developer who did Billingsley Place, to Louder, who did that. It's a great neighborhood. We're trying to mimic that. We're trying to have a great neighborhood that's affordable, and I think it'll be a good asset to this area. Shane, I'm going to introduce my.
I think one of the questions that somebody asked was, is it going to be 2 cars per house? Basically,
I'm sorry, sir.
Yeah.
I'll let him answer that question.
Okay.
Hey, this is Shane Eicherman with D.R. Horton at 80 Techno Center Drive here in Montgomery. I'd like to address a couple of things that came up. First of all, the lawsuits. We're a national builder. We're the largest builder in the United States. Currently building in, I think, 37 states. We're going to build a little less than 90,000 houses this year, 88, something like that. And while I would love to say that we have no lawsuits, we're the biggest guy, and everyone likes to sue the biggest guy. So what I said was there are currently no lawsuits here in central Alabama. There's one down on the coast that really has nothing to do with home construction, but the houses themselves are all 2-car garage. So there's a place to park 2 cars in a garage and additional 2 cars parking in the driveway with no parking on the street. There will be an HOA here, and it will be enforced because I have 409 houses to sell, so I'm going to make sure that it looks good. I'm not going to go in and build all 409 and let them sit. We're going to build at the pace that they sell. It does no good for me to go invest millions and millions of dollars building houses if they're not going to sell. So we're going to pace it along with sales. I don't know if they're going to be brick or hardy. It'll probably be a mix of the two. I don't know if it'll be 4 sides brick, but there will probably be a mix of brick and hardy in here.
Y'all starting in the back coming forward and the front going back?
No, we'll start at the front by the entrance.
Prices of the home, they talked about size of the home.
Yeah. Sorry, the sizes of the home will be just under 1,800 to just over 2,500 square feet, which is pretty consistent with the surrounding neighborhoods. The sales price on the bigger homes will be about $130 a foot, and the smaller homes about $150 a foot, When you look at the houses that have sold in the area in the last 6 months, they've ranged from $82 to $129 a foot. So these will be the nicest homes in the area.
Would you be, there was a lady that mentioned the houses backing, are on this, right on that side of the two subdivisions. Have you got a thought or comment that?
Well, what we
as
said
far
when
as
they,
2 stories?
yeah, there'll be a mix of 1 and 2 stories. There was some concern about that. We were going to leave the beautification just a berm and natural. There are some existing trees, and we agreed to plant some Leland cypresses or some sort of screening trees to address that.
And the intent is the homeowners association is going to take care of the future of that beautification.
That's right. It's part of the common area that will be managed by the HOA.
I think that was the question. Sir, did we answer your, okay, which part? Would you come on up to the microphone? I'm sorry, we got.
From what I heard.
Come on up, I'm sorry, we're doing it.
Cornelius, Maryland, Barrel Station.
Yeah, yes.
I understood the process. I didn't understand the numbers. What numbers? What was the data that he used to get the end results?
I probably cut him off.
Okay. Yeah. Number of cars.
He's got.
Speak into it.
Okay.
Jay, I'm sorry.
And also too, I don't think we got a fair advantage because it seems like you guys are giving more to the builder side than the ones that are concerned because you're kind of cutting us off. And I know you're in charge here, but it was, I mean, it's kind of frustrating because there's a lot of value that we have in the subdivision. We love the subdivision. And it just didn't seem like there's enough data because the surveys are not being done. We still don't know what the surveys. I don't even know. He told me the process.
Because we're here for a rezoning. It's what
Okay.
we're dealing
Okay.
with. Okay,
So-
we're not here to go into
Okay.
all that. We have
Okay.
a rezoning before
Okay.
us.
Okay, thanks for explaining that. I'm sorry.
All right. Yeah, you go ahead.
I got a comment. You know, when somebody buys a house and there's vacant, undeveloped land next to them or in the vicinity, and they don't do their due diligence and check as to what's going to be there, they have a responsibility on all that too. But having said that, I don't like the density of this development. I mean, a while back we rezoned this with 200-something lots on it. And now coming up with over 400, I don't like that.
Well, obviously I was not involved in the last one. It's my understanding that the last time that this was brought up, it was 270 lots with houses roughly ranging in the 450 to 550 range with no traffic improvements. And just to make it work with what's surrounding and adding a traffic light, this is the density that we needed.
From the improvements that we're proposing in traffic signal. It also was connecting to the east and west in that plan as well, which we looked at that submittal and we tried to hear some of the neighborhood's comments and tried to craft a plan to reflect some of their comments.
Okay. Thank you, KJ. Anyone else have a question?
Do
on
you
the
still
planning?
want us to vote on that without the traffic report?
Again, Mr. Reed, I said that the traffic reports,
It's a yes or no
I'm
type
trying to
question.
answer your question, sir. I'm trying, I would like to have a vote. Is that fair to say, Shane? I mean, we'd like to have a vote because, again, we're asking for a rezoning. Understand that the city has no issue with the use of what we're doing. I've told you we're going to have a meeting with the neighbors, with our traffic consultant that unfortunately had to leave. Illustrating this, again, we've promised a signal. We're going to do a signal. You know, that's the biggest warrant that any traffic study can ever do is a signal, and that's what we're doing. And we've promised that. It's a lot of money to put a signal in, and my developer is willing to do that. So I would like to have a vote. I'd like to, again, Council Pruitt and Council Jenright said they're not going to vote on this rezoning request without the traffic study and without having another meeting with the neighbors. So I would like to have a vote.
Okay. With all that, a motion's in order. Is there a motion?
I move to disapprove.
Move to disapprove.
Second?
Is there a second? Okay. Give a reason why you want to.
Well, one reason is because I feel that the traffic flow and with that traffic study not being up to par, especially with the school, coming down there that they know gonna be down there. I drive out there all the time. It's horrible. Personally, I wouldn't even live out there because of the traffic conditions and all that. So I feel what those people are seeing. I mean, and then eventually, and I've seen it before, they say they got no access back into those communities. Sooner or later, when they get enough houses out there, I feel that they're gonna cut through there. And it's too much just space for them to do stuff that they'll tell us that they're gonna do, and then they'll do something different.
Okay. Anybody else have a?
My comment is, yes.
I'm trying to understand what the reason was.
The reasoning is traffic congestion.
Traffic congestion.
Yeah, it's unsafe.
Well,
It's gonna be unsafe for one.
It has to be a matter of record. That's why I have to know. what
Right, it's
exactly
gonna be traffic, it's gonna be unsafe. The traffic study have not been completed, and me in good conscience would not vote for something without that complete traffic study. I mean,
And I'm the same way about the traffic study.
yeah, he said that
He
they will
wants to
have
put
that
the
complete
traffic
traffic
study on the
study when they come to the city council meeting, but that's kinda like disrespecting us. We'd like to see the complete traffic study also.
Again, I can say, we're proposing a traffic signal that does help the circulation on Vaughn Road, and that's part of our proposal as well.
Okay. And we've
I'd like
also, I would like to make sure you understand that we have 7 folks here now, so you gotta have 5 of the 7, okay? Y'all still want us to go forward?
Yes, sir.
All right, okay. All right, we have a motion to disapprove, and we have a second, and we have some sort of excuse. So, all those in favor of the motion to disapprove? 1, 2, 3. Okay, we got 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. All those against?
You wanna say all those 4, Mr. Hart?
You go 1. Are you against or for? You abstain? Okay. Okay. Well, I'm voting for. All right.
Okay, hold on.
We got 1 abstain, we got two voting for, and we got
Okay.
4 voting against, which means.
It doesn't, motion doesn't carry then.
That's right.
Yeah.
And now, Tommy, make sure we're saying this right. This thing's going now to the council, right? Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. So it was turned. Come up here and speak. Tell who you are again, please.
Scott Lausman, Bellwood East.
Thank you.
You voted to disapprove. You didn't vote to approve, correct?
We had a vote of 4 to disapprove.
Right.
We had a vote of 2 to approve. We had a vote of 1 to abstain.
Therefore?
Therefore,
There's no action.
no action.
So it doesn't go forward.
It goes, well, it's going to go to the city council, what's going to happen.
So that's like an approval.
I'm sorry?
So that's like an approval? No?
It's not.
No, it's
It's going
not.
to the council with you having no vote on it, or abstaining.
We had a vote.
No decision, or?
No decision.
No decision.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
And that's why, when I was talking earlier about, I knew we had somebody that was having to leave.
Right.
And I was wanting to try to get the vote in.
Right.
For or against.
I got you.
So, so at least they had something.
Not
Okay?
approved, it's going forward without
Yes, sir.
approval.
It's
Thank you,
going,
sir.
thank you, sir.
Just so you know, it doesn't always have to go forward. That's up to the developer. That's up to the one.
Yeah, they have to make that decision.
What's that? I don't know what he's gonna do, but he doesn't have to. I'm sorry, I can't understand.
Okay. All right, guys, we've got one more. The same type of situation.
Flowers and White Engineering representing Shirley Jones requesting approval of a master plan and rezone 2 parcels of land containing 133 acres on the west side of Taylor Road at the intersection of Park Crossing from an Ag 1 to a PUD.
All right, KJ.
Thanks, Tanya. Again, representing Shirley Jones. This piece, as you see, is right across the Park Crossing where it attaches to Taylor Road. There's a signal there. It's also north of Taylor Lake Subdivision, kind of eastward of Taylor Lake Subdivision. And then Remington Road is to the west, Malcolm Drive to the north. We're proposing to a PUD zoning. We're proposing 75-foot wide lots in this area, all single family. Again, we're connecting to our main entrance is off of Park Crossing, the signalized intersection there. We're also connecting to Malcolm Drive to the north as well. Can you scroll down just a hair, sir? Sir, can you scroll down just an extension of Taylor Crossing Parkway will touch our property in the next couple of phases of Taylor Lakes. And we're proposing to, thank you, and we're proposing to connect to that as well. So, the amenity site is shown, some ponds are shown. I can have any questions?
Anyone wish to speak or have a question?
These lots
Nope.
are going to be 75 feet lots, right?
Yes, sir.
75, yeah.
And the other one was 50.
Different product types.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, and there is no traffic study.
Oh, no, there is,
Oh,
there's
there
a
is
traffic
one.
study. Yes, that's correct.
He's not gonna come tell us again, is he?
Well, he was going to talk, but unfortunately his son's, but yes, yeah, Paul did a traffic study for this part. This is,
When we get to it, we're gonna let you speak.
Again, this is a large intersection, Park Crossing. Taylor Road is a state road, Mr. Buddy, so there's controlled access. We're accessing the controlled access for our development. Again, this intersection is designed in a certain way to allow for new development. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, so we will require them to submit the traffic study for this. I'll be looking at the internal circulation of the neighborhood. I won't be the one that approves the modifications to the signal on Taylor Road. That'll be ALDOT.
That's correct.
We do maintain that signal, so I'll be working with ALDOT and looking at what they're recommending and kind of working with them. But otherwise, we'll be looking at the flow in the neighborhood, and I'll obviously be looking at the numbers as well that he's presenting.
Well, it'll be decel lanes though coming into this.
I would think so. With the speed of Taylor Road, more than likely those would warrant.
On our other developments to the south, they were.
I'm sorry?
The other developments to our west, Hampstead, Lane's Landing, they were warranted as well. So,
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I think they will be, but that'll ultimately be ALDOT making that decision.
Okay. Anybody have a comment or question on the planning commission? Anybody? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Donna Spears. I live in Bell Station. I'm at 2407 Wabash Drive. I don't actually have a problem with this particular proposal, but I just want to point out on Exhibit 11C, you can see the previous number 10 that we were just discussing on the same, if you go scroll up, you can see how close those are, and this comes up to that same intersection, and I understand he just spoke to the traffic, but it's going to also go to that F intersection at Bell Road. It's all coming in, because this is 300 and, how many?
56.
356 on top of the maybe 409 added, all going to, I just want to say, it's just more of a same concern. But this is super close to the other property as well.
Okay. Comment.
The Taylor Road is a lot of different situation than Vaughn Road. Obviously, it's controlled access, multi-laned, divided median. So
Well, I think what she meant, KJ, is that you got some flow-through streets.
Well, also, we're not proposing commercial, which generate more traffic, so we're, it's.
Well,
you know,
yeah,
So it's, Malcolm is that commercial development, so we're just doing a single family, but yes.
Okay, anybody else have a comment, question? Yes, sir.
My name's Chris Obenhouse. I live on Camp Creek Court, which is in Bellwood Estates, just west of this development. I had two things I wanted to point out. The first was the prior development that we discussed had 30-foot beautification parcels offered for adjoining residential neighborhoods. This development has both the Bellwood Estates neighborhood to the west and a apartment complex to the north, but it does not appear on the master plan that the beautification parcels were offered, and I'm curious as to why. My second point or question would be, this is 250 acres total being developed in South Alabama. Both of them abut floodplains as defined by FEMA. And so we're talking about a lot of asphalt, concrete, hardscapes. We've talked a lot about traffic. My question is more about rainwater and where it goes. So I know that my neighborhood is directly impacted by floodwaters. And as Taylor Road and Vaughn Road have developed, i.e. this Graham land, all the way from Publix down to Taylor Lakes, the flooding in our neighborhood has gotten worse and worse. I certainly don't expect the developers of these two projects to address that, but I think it could be something that needs to be taken a look at by the city. So that was it.
Thank you, sir.
Chris, the lots that are, can you go back to the master plan? Yeah, Chris, those lots are deeper on the west side. I don't have a problem providing like a beautification parcel and making those lots the normal width. It was always understood I made them deeper in having some type of buffer against Camp Creek. Would you have a problem? No, so we can add a 30-foot beautification parcel like we did the last phase. I see no reason why we can't do that. I'm sorry we didn't do the first. We always make, especially on outside lots, we make them deeper as well. As you look to the north, that's actually against apartment complex. Those lots are deeper too. So I see no reason why we can't propose a 30-foot beautification parcel as well, and we can, place some topsoil in that area to have some area. As for Camp Creek and the pond to the northwest, this site kind of crowns in the middle. You see how there's a pond in the front right there and a pond in the northwest. Every project we do, we have to submit our hydrology calculations to hydroengineering, which is a third party that the city engages. I can say they're very, very thorough. They're the last approval I always get from subdivision because they're very good at what they do. So, legally we can't allow any more water to leave the site than already leaving the site right now. So we design a certain way to, actually the ponds now in their hydrology manual, we have to design to the 100-year storm event, which is very difficult to do. So, we can't spill more water off our development than originally planned. And Chris is right, we're going to generate more water because there's asphalt and there's houses and there's sidewalks. And so, but we have to, again, we can't let any more water off than originally is leaving our site now.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Anyone else wish to speak for or against? Motion's in order.
Somebody stood up.
Motion to approve.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who?
Somebody stood up in the back.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am. Come on.
Good evening again. My name is Francesca Romano. I live in the Bellwood area. this lot seems to be kind of similar to the previous one. On this map, it doesn't look like it's connecting to the adjacent neighborhoods. And I'm worried that that will create the same problems as the previous neighborhoods are having now with mobility and traffic. How will this lot address future traffic issues? Considering there's a school in front, is there methods of mobility outside of cars? Are there going to be sidewalks constructed? I'm assuming families are going to be zoned for park crossing. So are children able to walk to their school safely? Or is it always going to have to be cars driven in, which is a pretty big influx of traffic? Additionally, like how, actually, yeah, that's it. That's it, that's my question.
All right. Wesley, you want to jump on that one just quickly? Did you hear the comments?
I did. The sidewalks are typically required for these neighborhoods. The connections across Taylor Road, again, that's going to get into the traffic study and ALDOT's requirements. Taylor Road is a high-speed highway. It's going to be a little more difficult, but I think that's something that we can take a look at.
We're connecting to the north and to the south to Taylor Lakes and Malcolm Drive, which is a commercial area, which would go to Publix. But those connection points are proposed here, and then we have pedestrian access, 5-foot sidewalk on all rights-of-ways that are proposed within our development.
Okay. All right, thank you. Sir, do you have any comments you want to make before we, anything else that's?
So this subdivision is actually a continuation of Taylor Lakes. So the product is a little different, the lot size is a little bigger, but this is probably 2 years until we start development on this deal, but it's more of the same of Taylor Lakes, just a continuation through there with connections, like KJ said, to the commercial and to the existing neighborhood.
Okay, thank you. If a motion is in order, is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, is there a second?
Second.
Who made the first? Okay.
Okay, all those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed? Okay, that's 5 and 1.
6 and 1.
I'm sorry?
6 and 1.
6 and 1, okay. I can't add or subtract, can I? Okay, thank you. Anything else, Tanya?
No, sir.
We stand adjourned.